In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was unformed and void. Darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the water. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God saw that light was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So there was evening, and there was morning one day. God said, "Let there be a dome in the middle of the water. Let it divide the water from the water." God made the dome and divided the water under the dome from the water above the dome. That is how it was. And God called the dome sky. So there was evening and there was morning, a second day. God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear." And that is how it was. God called the dry land earth, the gathering together of the water he called seas. And God saw that it was good. God said, "Let the earth put forth grass, seed-producing plants, and fruit trees, each yielding its own kind of seed-bearing fruit on the earth." And that is how it was. The earth brought forth grass, plants each yielding its own kind of seed, and trees each producing its own kind of seed-bearing fruit. And God saw that it was good. So there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. God said, "Let there be lights in the dome of the sky to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs, seasons, days, and years. And let them be for lights in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth." And that is how it was. God made the two great lights, the larger light to rule the day, and the smaller to rule the night, and the stars. God put them in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So there was evening, and there was morning, a fourth day. God said, "Let the water swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the open dome of the sky." God created the great sea creatures and every living thing that creeps, so that the water swarmed with all kinds of them. And there was every kind of winged bird, and God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the water of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." So there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. God said, "Let the earth bring forth each kind of living creature, each kind of livestock, crawling animal, and wild beast." And that is how it was. God made each kind of wild beast, each kind of livestock, and every kind of animal that crawls along the ground. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our own image, in the likeness of ourselves, and let them rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the animals, and over all the earth, and over every crawling creature that crawls on the earth." So God created humankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them. God said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, and every living creature that crawls on the earth." Then God said, "Here, throughout the whole earth, I am giving you as food every seed-bearing plant and every tree with seed-bearing fruit. And to every wild animal, bird in the air, and creature crawling on the earth, in which there is a living soul, I am giving as food every kind of green plant." And that is how it was. God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So there was evening, and there was morning, a sixth day. Thus the heavens and earth were finished, along with everything in them. On the seventh day, God was finished with his work which he had made. So he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. God blessed the seventh day and separated it as holy, because on that day God rested from all his work which he had created, so that it itself could produce. Here is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created. On the day when Adonai God made earth and heaven, there was yet no wild bush on the earth, and no wild plant had yet sprung up, for Adonai God had not caused it to rain on the earth, and there was no one to cultivate the ground. Rather, a mist went up from the earth, which watered the entire surface of the ground. Then Adonai God formed a person, Adam in Hebrew, from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, so that he became a living being. Adonai God planted a garden toward the east in Eden, and there he put the person whom he had formed. Out of the ground, Adonai God caused to grow every tree pleasing in appearance, for good and good for food, including the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided into 4 streams. The name of the first is Pishon. It winds throughout the land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Aromatic resin and onyx stone are also found there. The name of the second river is Gishon. It winds throughout the lands of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris. It is the one that flows toward the east of Ashur. The fourth river is the Euphrates. Adonai God took the person and put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Adonai God gave the person this order: you may freely eat from any tree in the garden except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You are not to eat from it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die. Adonai God said, it isn't good that the person should be alone. I will make for him a companion suitable for helping him. So from the ground, Adonai God formed every wild animal and every bird that flies in the air, and he brought them to the person to see what he would call them. Whatever the person would call each living creature, that was to be its name. So the person gave names to all of the livestock, to the birds of the air, and to every wild animal. But for Adam, there was not found a companion suitable for helping him. Then God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the person, and while he was sleeping, he took one of his ribs and closed up the place from which he took it with flesh. The rib which Adonai God had taken from the person, he had made a woman person, and he brought her to the man person. The man person said, at last, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She is to be called woman, because she was taken out of man. This is why a man is to leave his father and mother and stick to his wife, and they are to be one flesh. They were both naked, and the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Now, the serpent was more crafty than any wild animal which Adonai God had made. He said to the woman, did God really say you are not to eat from any tree in the garden? The woman answered the serpent, we may eat from the fruit of the trees of the garden, but about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, God said, you are neither to eat from it nor touch it, or you will die. The serpent said to the woman, is it true that you will surely die? Because God knows on the day that you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. When the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it had a pleasing appearance, and that the tree was desirable for making one wise, she took some of its fruit and ate. She also gave to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together to make themselves loincloths. They heard the voice of Adonai God walking in the garden at the time of the evening breeze. So the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Adonai God among the trees in the garden. Adonai God called to the man, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." He said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree from which I ordered you not to eat?" The man replied, "The woman you gave to be with me, she gave me the fruit from the tree, and I ate." Adonai God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman answered, "The serpent tricked me, so I ate." Adonai God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock and wild animals. You will crawl on your belly and eat dust as long as you live. I will put animosity between you and the woman, and between your descendant and her descendant. He will bruise your head, and you will bruise his heel." To the woman, he said, "I will greatly increase your pain in childbirth. You will bring forth children in pain. Your desire will be toward your husband, but he will rule over you." To Adam, he said, "Because you listened to what your wife said and ate from the tree about which I gave you the order, you are not to eat from it. The ground is cursed on your account. You will work hard to eat from it as long as you live. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the field plants. You will eat bread by the sweat of your forehead till you return to the ground, for you were taken out of it. You are dust, and you will return to dust. The man called his wife Havah, Eve, meaning life, because she was the mother of all living. Adonai God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. Adonai God said, "See, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now, to prevent his putting out his hand and taking also from the tree of life, eating and living forever." Therefore, Adonai God sent him out of the Garden of Eden to cultivate the ground from which he was taken. So he drove the man out, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden the cherubim and a flaming sword, which turned in every direction to guard the way to the tree of life. The man had sexual relations with Havah, his wife. She conceived, gave birth to Cain, meaning acquisition, and said, "I have acquired a man from Adonai." In addition, she gave birth to his brother Abel. Havel kept sheep, while Cain worked the soil. In the course of the time, Cain brought an offering to Adonai from the produce of the soil. And Havel too brought from the firstborn of his sheep, including their fat. Adonai accepted Havel and his offering, but did not accept Cain and his offering. Cain was very angry, and his face fell. Adonai said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why so downcast? If you are doing what is good, shouldn't you hold your head high? And if you don't do what is good, sin is crouching at the door. It wants you, but you can rule over it." Cain had words with Havel his brother. Then one time, when they were in the field, Cain turned on Havel his brother and killed him. Adonai said to Cain, "Where is Havel your brother?" And he replied, "I don't know. Am I my brother's guardian?" He said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood at your hands. When you farm the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a fugitive wandering the earth." Cain said to Adonai, My punishment is greater than I can bear. You are banning me today from the land and from your presence. I will be a fugitive wandering the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." Adonai answered him, "Therefore, whoever kills Cain will receive vengeance sevenfold." And Adonai put a sign on Cain so that no one who found him would kill him. So Cain left the presence of Adonai and lived in the land of Nod, wandering, east of Eden. Cain had sexual relations with his wife. She conceived and gave birth to Enoch. Cain built a city and named the city after his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad. Irad fathered Mehuel. Mehuel fathered Metushel, and Metushel fathered Lamech. Lamech took himself 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, while the name of the other was Zillah. Adah gave birth to Yuvol. He was the ancestor of those who live in tents and have cattle. His brother's name was Yuvol, and he was the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the flute. Zillah gave birth to Tuval-Cain, who forged all kinds of tools from brass and iron. And the sister of Tuval-Cain was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, listen to me, wives of Lamech. Hear what I say. I killed a man for wounding me, a young man who injured me. If Cain will be avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. Adam again had sexual relations with his wife, and she gave birth to a son whom she named Seth, meaning granted. For God has granted me another seed in place of Avel, since Cain killed him. To Chet too was born a son, whom he called Enosh. That is when people began to call on the name of Adonai. Here is the genealogy of Adam. On the day that God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female. He blessed them and called them Adam, humankind, on the day they were created. After Adam lived 130 years, he fathered a son like himself named Chet. After Chet was born, Adam lived another 800 years and had both sons and daughters. In all, Adam lived 930 years, and then he died. Chet lived 105 years and fathered Enosh. After Enosh was born, Chet lived another 807 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Chet lived 912 years, then he died. Enosh lived 90 years and fathered Kenan. After Kenan was born, Enosh lived another 815 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Enosh lived 905 years, then he died. Kenan lived 70 years and fathered Mahalalel. After Mahalalel was born, Kenan lived another 840 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Kenan lived 910 years, then he died. Mahalalel lived 65 years and fathered Yared. After Yared was born, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Mahalalel lived 895 years, then he died. Yared lived 162 years and fathered Hanoch. After Hanoch was born, Jared lived 800 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Jared lived 962 years, then he died. Hanoch lived 65 years and fathered Methuselah. After Methuselah was born, Hanoch walked with God 300 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Hanoch lived 365 years. Hanoch walked with God, and then he wasn't there because God took him. Methuselah lived 187 years and fathered Lamech. After Lamech was born, Methuselah lived 782 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Methuselah lived 969 years. Then he died. Lamech lived 182 years and fathered a son, whom he called Noah, meaning restful. For he said, "This one will comfort us in our labor, in the hard work we do with our hands, to get what comes from the ground that Adonai cursed." After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had sons and daughters. In all, Lamech lived 777 years. Then he died. Noah was 500 years old when Noah fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. In time, when men began to multiply on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took wives for themselves, whomever they chose. Adonai said, "My spirit will not live in human beings forever, for they too are flesh. Therefore, their lifespan is to be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the ancient heroes, men of renown. Adonai saw the people on the earth were very wicked, that all of the imaginings of their hearts were always evil only. Adonai regretted that he had made humankind on the earth. It grieved his heart. Adonai said, "I will wipe out humankind, whom I have created from the whole earth, and not only human beings, but animals, creeping things, and birds of the air, for I regret I ever made them." But Noah found grace in the sight of Adonai. Here is the history of Noah. In his generation, Noah was a man righteous and wholehearted. Noah walked with God. Noah fathered 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt before God. The earth was filled with violence. God saw the earth, and yes, it was corrupt, for all living beings had corrupted their ways on the earth. God said to Noah, "The end of all living beings has come before me. For because of them, the earth is filled with violence. I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. You are to make the ark with rooms and cover it with pitch, both outside and inside. Here is how you are to build it. The length of the ark is to be 450 feet, its width 75 feet, and its height 45 feet. You are to make an opening for daylight in the ark 18 inches below its roof. Put a door on its side and build it with lower, second, and third decks. Then I myself will bring the flood of water over the earth to destroy from under heaven every living thing that breathes. Everything on earth will be destroyed, but I will establish my covenant with you. You will come into the ark, you and your sons, your wives, your sons' wives with you. From everything living, each kind of living being, you are to bring 2 into the ark and keep them alive with you. They are to be male and female. Of each kind of bird, each kind of livestock, and each kind of animal creeping on the ground, 2 are to come to you, so that they are kept alive. Also, take from all the kinds of food that are eaten and collect it for yourself. It is to be food for you and for them. This is what Noah did. He did all that God ordered him to do. Adonai said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you alone in this generation are righteous before me. Of every clean animal you are to take 7 couples, and of the animals that are not clean, 1 couple. Also, of the birds of the air, take 7 couples, in order to preserve their species throughout the earth. For in 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. I will wipe out every living thing that I have made from the face of the earth. Noah did all that Adonai ordered him to do. Noah was 600 years old when the water flooded the earth. Noah went into the ark with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives because of the flood waters. Of clean animals, of animals that are not clean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the ground, couples, male and female, went into Noah in the ark, as God had ordered Noah. After 7 days, the water flooded the earth. On the 17th day of the 2nd month of the 600th year of Noah's life, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of the sky were opened. It rained on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the same day, Noah entered the ark with Shem, Ham, Japhet, the sons of Noah, Noah's wives, and the 3 wives of his sons accompanying them. They and every animal of every species, all the livestock of every species, every animal that creeps on the ground of every species, and every bird of every species, all sorts of winged creatures. They went into Noah in the ark, couples from every kind of living thing that breathes. Those that entered and went in, male and female, from every kind of living being, as God had ordered them, and Adonai shut him inside. The flood was 40 days on the earth. The water grew higher and floated the ark, so that it was lifted up off the earth. The water overflowed the earth and grew deeper, until the ark floated on the surface of the water. The water overpowered the earth mightily. All the mountains under the sky, the entire sky, were covered. The water covered the mountains by more than 22.5 feet. All living beings that moved on the earth perished: birds, livestock, other animals, insects, and every human being. Everything in whose nostrils was the breath of spirit of life, whatever was on dry land, died. He wiped out every living thing on the surface of the ground, not only human beings, but livestock, creeping animals, and birds of the air. They were wiped out from the earth. Only Noah was left, along with those who were with him in the ark. The water held power over the earth for 150 days. God remembered Noah, every living thing, and all the livestock with him in the ark. So God caused a wind to pass over the earth, and the water began to go down. Also, the fountains of the deep and the windows of the sky were stopped. The rain from the sky was restrained, and the water came back from completely covering the earth. It was after 150 days that the water went down. On the 17th day of the 17th month, the ark came to a rest on the mountains of Ararat. The water kept going down until the 10th month. On the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen. After 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark which he had built, and he sent out a raven which flew back and forth until the water dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had gone from the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place for her feet to rest, so she returned to him in the ark, because the water still covered the whole earth. He put out his hand, took her, and brought her into him in the ark. He waited another 7 days and again sent the dove out from the ark. The dove came into him in the evening, and there in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the water had cleared from the earth. He waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, and she did not return to him any more. By the first day of the first month of the 601st year, the water had dried up from off the earth. So Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and yes, the surface of the ground was dry. It was on the 27th day of the second month that the earth was dry. God said to Noah, "Go out from the ark, you, your wife, your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing you have with you, birds, livestock, and every animal that creeps on the earth, so that they can swarm on the earth, be fruitful, and multiply on the earth." So Noah went out with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, whatever moves on the earth, according to their families, went out of the ark. Noah built an altar to Adonai. Then he took from every clean animal and every clean bird, and he offered burnt offerings on the altar. Adonai smelled the sweet aroma, and Adonai said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground because of humankind, since the imaginings of a person's heart are evil from his youth. Nor will I ever again destroy all living things as I have done. So long as the earth exists, sowing time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night will not cease." God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will be upon every wild animal, every bird of the air, every creature populating the ground, and all fish in the sea. They have been handed over to you. Every moving thing that lives will be food for you. Just as I gave you green plants before, so now I give you everything. Only flesh with its life, which is its blood, you are not to eat. I will certainly demand an accounting for the blood of your lives. I will demand it from every animal and from every human being. I will demand from every human being an accounting for the life of his fellow human being. Whoever sheds human blood by a human being, will his own blood be shed. For God made human beings in his image. And you people, be fruitful, multiply, swarm on the earth, and multiply on it. God spoke to Noah and his sons with them. He said, "As for me, I am herewith establishing my covenant with you, with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every wild animal with you, all going out of the ark, every animal on earth. I will establish my covenant with you, that never again will all living beings be destroyed by the waters of a flood, and there will never again be a flood to destroy the earth." God added, "Here is the sign of the covenant I am making between myself and you, and every living creature with you, for all generations to come. I am putting my rainbow in the cloud. It will be there as a sign of the covenant between myself and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth, and the rainbow is seen in the cloud, I will remember my covenant, which is between myself and you and every living creature of any kind, and the water will never again become a flood to destroy all living beings. The rainbow will be in the cloud, so that when I look at it, I will remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of any kind on the earth." God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between myself and every living creature on the earth." The sons of Noah who went out from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham is the father of Canaan. These three were sons of Noah, and the whole earth was populated by them. Noah, a farmer, was the first to plant a vineyard. He drank so much of the wine that he got drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father shamefully exposed, went out and told his two brothers. Shem and Japheth took a cloak, put it over both their shoulders, and walking backward went in and covered their naked father. Their faces were turned away so that they did not see their father lying there shamefully exposed. When Noah awoke from his wine, he knew that what his youngest son had done to him. He said, "Cursed be Canaan. He will be a servant of servants to his brothers." Then he said, "Blessed be Adonai, the God of Shem. Canaan, will be their servant. May God enlarge Japhet. He will live in the tents of Shem, but Canaan will be their servant." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. In all, Noah lived 950 years. Then he died. I think that's a good place to stop. Well,